As we go to the scoreboard in the second semi-final, it's Port Adelaide and Norwood. Scores there, 6-9 Norwood and Port Adelaide 6-4. A 5-point ball game at half-time. Goal kickers for the Redlegs. Malloy has 2, Cunningham has 2, and for Port Adelaide, Burgoyne has 2. As we go to highlights of the first half, and you'll see one of the best hip and shoulders, Mark Naley, that you'll see in a long time.
Yeah, some great highlights in that first half, but one there, we see James coming through, putting down the old Captain Courageous in Timmy Ginniver. But he got back up and he's had something like about 14 possessions in that first half, and he really has been fantastic. Another one there, also on young Higgins. Tregenza back in his first game and really has been good in that first half.
Tregenza, 7 kicks, 3 handballs. Ashley has been prominent with 6 kicks, 4 handballs, and Burgoyne with a couple of goals in the first half also. That one quite special.
A little bit of black magic there. You see him coming around, just kicking the ball around corners. He is sensational, a great player.
Malloy gets one of his 2 goals in the first half. He was a prominent forward.
And you see Ambrose here, David, just great second effort. Just gets the ball across over to McGuinness. McGuinness on his left leg, around his body, kicks a very important goal.
And this is Cunningham back after a knee reconstruction, and he was a prominent player in the first half for the Redlegs. And you've got to suspect that very good for his confidence as well.
Oh, very, very good. We see here James once again coming in, just throws the ball into the boot as he's tackled by Delaney, thrown to the ground, and still manages to kick the goal. And Jarman, a little bit of magic about Jarman, truly worthy of that McGarry medal, and he's showing it today. Being picked up by Borlace once again, as he was in that second to last round, but that's what the report was, David.
Now, Paul McCormick on the Iceman.
It's just taken around the stomach. Maybe not a great deal, but we're sitting up here in the commentary box. Pretty easy to see from here, but down there the umpire was a bit closer, and maybe the reporter's there, but just have to wait and see what happens during the week.
The umpires have been pretty fair. The judiciary, I think, has done a great job this year, as you pointed out in an article a couple of weeks ago in the Sunday Mail. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But back to the best players, Timmy Ginniver has been, again, in a final, inspirational for Port Adelaide.
Yes, he has been. I mean, he has been very, very good. So has Ashley around the middle there as well, but also Burgoyne, as I said before. I mean, he's had a couple of chances at goals, but he's been very, very good. But for Norwood also, you know, just a few players there that have been good. I mean, Tyson out in the wing.
Tyson,
James been very, very good
Tyson,
as well.
11 kicks, 5 handballs. Brett James, 7 kicks, 10 handballs, 17 possessions to half-time. And Gary McIntosh spent a fair bit of time off the field in the first half.
He doesn't look fit at the moment, Gary McIntosh, but just what value do you put on Gary McIntosh? Just being out there as inspiration to his side. I mean, he is a great captain, a great leader, and is admired not only by Norwood players, but respected by the Port Adelaide players.
Andrew Jarman, as we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary. Rob Jars, 5 kicks, 6 handballs, needs to do a little bit more, but is he feeling a little jaded after the celebrations on Tuesday night?
Look, I'd expect that he may be. Obviously, a lot of pressure, both mentally and physically, on Andrew Jarman out there today, isn't there? But he's got a very good opponent in Daryl Borlace, and he'll have to be at his very best in his second half to have some sort of influence on the game.
Thanks for that, Rob, as we go to the second half live. Stay with us till 6 p.m. tonight, live on ABC. The second semi-final, the second half. Your commentator, Ken Sheldon and Mark Naley.
5-point margin to the Redlegs. They're kicking right of screen. Some quick handball by Harvey. Back to James. James kicks the ball high. Coming out is West. Good sport fly Pedler. McIntosh comes through the package. He brought it back far enough. He hasn't. He brings up his first score for the afternoon. It's a behind. But Gary McIntosh, you never, ever underestimate him. He's back on. Rob Popplestone, the boundary.
Thanks, Noel. Obviously, you picked up Gary McIntosh back on the ground. Coming off for Norwood was Christian O'Brien. A couple of changes for Port Adelaide. Both Rowan Smith and Brett Higgins sitting on the bench. Paul Northeast and Scott Hahn on the field for Port Adelaide.
Chalmers comes through, looking for Carter. Run out from the half-back flank. McGuinness very cleverly knocks the ball over his head. Carter just flips the ball out wide. You can see the players out there. One's Tregenza, also Borlace. Polton's there as well. Tregenza comes out, delivers the ball forward, and finds Ambrose. So Ambrose will line up from goals around about 35 metres out. He'll have no problems with the distance, just whether he can steer it through the middle of the goals.
The wind will actually favour Ambrose. It will take the ball right to left of screen to bring it back through the goal face. But already in that second half, we've seen 2 real special skills. One by Anthony Harvey, the handball off the deck, back to James, and that sidestep there by Tregenza. Real balance and poise.
So big Ambrose comes in. Yet to kick a goal today. He's line up a full forward. Just pushed it to the right. As we see the crowd not too happy with the result. So the Redlegs still by 5 points.
Very hesitant in his approach, Richard Ambrose there. Lacking confidence all the way. So he'll have to turn that around.
Dantokia pushes it long. 2-on-1, loose ball falls. McGuinness flips it out. Matthew Ashley over the top of the ball. He's held in the area. McGuinness comes in late. McIntosh barking orders. You can feel the electricity in this crowd. And do they love a Norwood Port final?
Well, this is where Port Adelaide have been a little better than Norwood. Norwood been terrific at centre bounce clearances, clearly the dominant side. But here, Port Adelaide have just been a little stronger, particularly through that man, Ginniver.
Ginniver got the kick away. McIntosh burrows after it, tries to get it out to Eastor. He's dragged off the ball by Darren Smith. Now Jarman comes again for a second effort, and Burgoyne wraps him up. And remember, fellas, last year's preliminary final, if you don't think there's some emotion in finals for these two clubs, remember the climax when Scott Hodges kicked that goal. Port Adelaide went on to win by 4 points and won the grand final that Norwood thought was theirs.
Perhaps this year will be of the red leg. But Port Adelaide have looked the goods here today, although it is 15 shots, 16 shots to 11. Just seem to be a little more better at it, do the Redlegs, particularly since about halfway through the first quarter.
Treadray up high, knocks the ball towards Borlase. The ball's gone towards the boundary line as a player is put down in that incident. Can't quite pick him up. It could be Esau as the player puts him on his side. McIntosh checks for a mouth guard.
Tremendous common sense by Gary McIntosh.
Could be Esau, I think. Copping the knee, he has. The full brunt of Treadray's knee across the face.
You can see that there on vision, just one of the, well, unfortunates of football. Players going at full tilt.
Now Aaron Keating called up by the Crows on Saturday to play against the Western Bulldogs. Their rucking options are limited. Norwood.
Well, they've got Downsborough, David, at centre-half forward. He has done a fair bit of the work up forward today, just allowing Eastor to sit back. So who'd be my first choice to come down?
Now the knee just gets him in the side of the face. Treadray really launching himself into that rucking contest, and Pitt follows it up. Eastor caught under it, gets a knee. So they've gone for a neck brace, which is wise, as we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
Just talking with Norwood staff here, the changes that will be made is Downsborough will go into the ruck now with, of course, Eastor coming off the ground on a stretcher, and Christian O'Brien will play across the half-forward line.
Thanks, Rob, for that. O'Brien just warming up on the boundary. Who could forget his impact just a couple of weeks ago? 5 goals after half-time and really turned it on. They'll need that sort of performance today, Ken.
Well, they will. They've had Malloy and West up forward. O'Brien, he is an explosive player, powerfully built player. Downsborough probably will be the player that does take over the ruck duties, and West or Malloy possibly out to centre half forward.
You'll see again in replay, this is normal speed. He's still caught under the ball, and oh, he was nudged into it by Darren Smith as well. So got a little nudge from behind and coming forward. So a great body blow to the Redlegs. And you'd have to suspect, Ken, win or lose. I mean, if they lose, they have to go to the preliminary final. Concussed, he won't play next week. They've got to hope that Norwood win today and he gets a chance of recovering in time for the grand final.
Yes, that's true, although players do recover at different rates, but let's hope the fellow is okay and suffers nothing more than a little bit of a couple of seconds out of his life.
Simon Eastor has been a great player since coming across the border, and this year in Magarey medal voting he finished 3rd in the club behind Andrew Jarman, Anthony Harvey, and he had 8 votes, Easthowe. a best on ground, 2 second bests and a third, and he's been a great clubman this year for the Redlegs.
He really is a talented big man who's having a great duel here today with Brett Chalmers. However, play now resumes.
Ball thrown in the forward pocket for the Magpies. Downsborough up against Smith. In over the top there, look like ball ace. Players have been desperate, throwing themselves over the ball. Andrew Jarman comes up with a free kick. So Andrew Jarman.
Clements a free kick off the play.
Peter Burgoyne grabbed him and threw him away, Mark, and the umpire was right on the job.
Good umpire. So Clements from the back pocket puts the ball high towards the half-back flank. Good mark taken by Chalmers, just a little bit too much height.
And that's the type of aerial supremacy that they'll be looking for from this Port Adelaide giant. A real good player at this level, and really has to put a stamp on his performance here today.
Jarman at the back mops up. He's been working hard today, had a disappointing final series last year. It's the catalyst for a big lift in performance this season. 5 kilos down in weight over the pre-season, and he's earned his McGarry medal, no doubt about that. Clements from half-back, he's been a rebounding defender today, pushes it forward, the restructure has happened. West is coming out, playing a fuller role down the field, and Fegert goes towards the boundary line successfully.
Fegert been fairly dependable at centre half-back, although I thought Downsborough really got away from him late in that second quarter.
Fegert reported for striking last week, pleaded guilty, got a reprimand for unintentional striking. Downsborough wins the contest, but picked up a free kick. He was held in the ruck contest, said the umpire, against Chalmers. So Downsborough now needs to be an impact player after being a bit player for most of the year.
That free kick, the result of Chalmers having to contest another opponent. Different opponents create a different body tactic, and Chalmers not able then to compete with that. What a tremendous lead by Malloy, and equally good foot disposals by James West. So the two forwards combining well. Malloy now opening up for his opportunity for his
Third
goal.
Kicked 2 goals in the first quarter, was quite dynamic. He's kicked 2 goals straight from 2 kicks. So his conversion rate has been very good today, Malloy, and he goes for 3 for 3, and he's got it. The crowd like it. The goal umpire says, yep, 2 fingers. Malloy gets his third, and the Redlegs extend their lead to 11.
And don't you just love that first blood after the long break? Coach Peter Rode just be ecstatic at that. Now the centre bounce clearance where the Redlegs have been dominant here today. This one vital.
11-point margin. 9.5 minutes in this first quarter. Remembering, we spent a lot of the time just waiting for the player in Eastall to come off on the stretcher. So this will be a long quarter. As Tyson comes around to his left leg, looking for Cunningham. He's found him. So Cunningham, half-board flank, kicks inside the 50-metre half circle. West comes out, uncontested by from Pedler or Delaney. Good work by Malloy.
I was going to say, Malloy was fantastic, held off 2 players and allowed West to take the mark.
The unrewarded things. It's a team game, and that's what it's all about. West, a long way out, but very capable.
So James West from outside 50. I think he's got it home. He has. The umpire walks to the centre of the goal square, puts up his 2 fingers. That's his second for the afternoon. And James West, you are the best.
Very good. The signs are there for the Redlegs. They've come out after the long break, all charged up. They've continued their centre bounce dominance, and their 2 key forwards, each with 1 major, early in this third quarter.
As we go down to Rob Popplestone for an injury update.
Thanks, DB. I can tell you, I've just been in the Norwood change rooms. The player carried from on the stretcher at Eastall has just now regained consciousness, and hopefully he'll be out there to during the 3-quarter time huddle, obviously to buoy the boys into bigger and better things in the final quarter.
Well, better news for the Redlegs. We hope he's fine. Obst out of the middle, forced onto the left boot, goes wide to Harvey, who also bowled beautifully, second in the club in McGarry medal votes. His brother is the favourite for the Brownlow. Brett James over the top. O'Brien just onto the field. Is he an impact player, this kid? And misses this time. As we go back down to the boundary and Rob Popplestone.
DB, a quick change being made by Port Adelaide. You'll find that Pedler will come off in a few moments' time, being led to the ball by James West on a number of occasions, and Clayton will come on for the Port Adelaide Magpies.
Thanks, Rob.
Change has been made. It's just been interesting to find when Pedler does come off, who will pick up West. We might get Ken Sheldon just to work that out very shortly. So Captain Ginnivan at 15 possessions this afternoon, 3 marks. Finds the players downfield and Chalmers. So Brett Chalmers kicks the ball up. Coming through hard was O'Brien. McIntosh puts his backside in. Tregenza holds his ground. Ashley knocks it forward. The Iceman there, contesting there also. McIntosh doing some solid work off the ball. The ball's kicked up. Comes to ground. Ginniver, free kick's paid. Looks like Brett Chalmers received the free kick. As Jarman goes down.
Well, the umpires love you, Jars, but they don't love you that much. He tried to sell that one. Ginniver gets a stern talking to by umpire Tim Pfeiffer, but he just came up and pushed Jars in the back of the head, and Jars hit the deck like somebody had shot him.
There's no doubt that that was a free kick to Chalmers. Port Adelaide had a
Oh, he's got a squirrel. Jars has got him with a squirrel.
Thank you.
Tuck him away for a rainy day, Jars, and Timmy didn't like it.
Three downfield again, David.
You've got to hand it to Andrew Jarman. He's a great character.
Ball comes up forward once again. Coming out is Cunningham. They'd like to have this young player back. And sensational rover is Johnny Cunningham, one of the best going around this competition. So West, outside 50, will go to the top of the goal square. Really wasted the kick forward. Just found Brett Chalmers standing alone.
Chalmers playing well.
Delaney felled, FAD downfield. Clayton just coming on will take the kick. And Figa tries to square up with O'Brien. There'll be no beg your pardons in this second half. The winner gets the spoils straight through to the grand final. And the loser gets to play a rejuvenated Central District. And watch Roger the Dodger. Bang. Down he goes. Well, he's given a few of those, Roger. You've got to wear a few when you get them. Oh, Ambrose cleverly judged. Beautifully judged. He came forward sideways, pirouetted back, and the ball lobbed right into the chest.
Tremendous use of the body, but Port Adelaide now in real trouble in the last line of defence. Pedler taken from the ground, northeast going back to pick up West, as Delaney has been transferred onto the very mobile Malloy, but Delaney now, after suffering that heavy knock, will have a real task ahead of him. Back to Ambrose, this fellow.
Yep.
Can he kick this goal? Showed little confidence in his previous approach early in the quarter. Must now will this goal through for Port Adelaide.
He's kicked 2 points in this match. Couple last week to be an effective forward. And he steadies. Stays over it. And he doesn't like it. It's 3 points to Ambrose, and that is a disappointing finish.
Well, that's a horrible finish for Port Adelaide. Goal face pressure costing them dearly. It's just so important in any game of football, but it is super important in a big final.
Miss your first couple, Ken, and the goalposts get a lot closer, don't they?
Oh, look, there's no excuses. You know, you've just got to be able to put yourself through the ritual, the routine, and kick the goal, kick the ball accurately.
The evergreen Jerry Dantosha brings the ball back in. The Iceman goes to ground. Ball's coming out wide. Bowman slips it out to Tyson. Tyson comes inboard. It's only gone as far as Tom Carr, the young Magpie. Kicks it forward. Smith, 2 hands in the back. Umpire's missed it. So Smith quickly across to McGuinness. McGuinness out front to Ambrose again. Pulls down a screamer.
Well, he's got to get back. He's got to set himself, understand where the man on the mark is, give himself some space, and just approach it confidently. Doesn't have to kick the cover off the ball. Got to come back a few metres for mine, son. Too close to the man on the mark.
Gary McIntosh
really unsure.
Really having a say to umpire number 20, who is young Justin Smith, just letting him know that he wasn't too happy with the attention that Bowman received. You see Ambrose goes back, gets his first goal for the afternoon. The player who shows little emotion
rubs his forehead in absolute relief. And that's got to give him some confidence. A very much needed goal for the Port Adelaide team. The key forward doing the job.
They've been good attacking the goals, the Magpies, but the Redlegs could count themselves unlucky there. Darren Smith clearly just had a little nudge, double-handed attempt, and there's the scoreline. 11 points to margin. The Redlegs enjoy the lead.
Port Adelaide must turn these centre-bounce clearances around. Norwood clearly dominant.
Downsborough launched into that one, crashing through Tregenza. Welcome back, Trigger, to half-forward. He goes, oh, the big fly's Dantokia, former best and fairest winner, and he loves the big occasion.
That's a tremendous launch, realising that Smith and Bowman were interlocked. just leapt over the top to take a fine mark.
Now they create the loose man. Wide it goes from Lachlan Bowman. Off hands. This is Roger James. Forced onto the left boot. He just chips it up. Let the runners come onto it. Delaney shepherds Malloy. Recovers the ball. Pushes it back. Macca quickly. Look at the vision. It was just terrific. One step and put it out in front of West.
And that is why McIntosh is regarded as one of the very, very best players ever to play this game of Australian rules. Never went on to play VFL, AFL, chose to stay here with his beloved Norwood, but gee, has earned the respect of all and sundry. That, the ability to be able to transfer play so quickly there and hit it lace out to West. 350
games today to Macca. What a highlight this will be if they beat Port Adelaide and go through to the grand final. James West puts it through. He loves it. That's his third. He's kicked 3 goals, 2 big, Jim. And he's enjoying this change of club. What a year it's been for him.
And a big answer that was. McIntosh set up the Norwood structure properly, hadn't gone too hard into the forward line, sat back, was able to receive the rebounding kick from Delaney, and then ever so quickly laced it out to Jim West.
17-point margin. 18-minute mark the third quarter. Norwood still in charge. The Magpies will respond. Tregenza again, should have taken it. Wasn't confident. Ops, across, the running Cunningham. Cunningham to Malloy, should have taken it. Out comes Delaney. Delaney onto his left boot. As far as Dan Toshi, he's got running players forward. Again in Cunningham, he goes that way, finds Cunningham. Cunningham quick to play on. Heads towards centre half forward. Norwood's had the numbers. Hands were very, very sloppy. Coming from James across to his brother. It's Brett James, but really Norwood did have opportunities.
Well, some very unusual cracks are starting to appear too. Tregenza fumbled, Delaney poor foot disposal, but Norwood not able to capitalise on the rebound.
19 minutes into the third quarter. This is the premiership quarter, and you've got to say that Norwood have held the upper hand this term. O'Brien to West, West forward, West at second handball to Harvey. Back it goes, Brett James. Now West smothered by Tregenza. Better play. And Trigger has a couple of bounces. He's unloaded.
Beautiful.
Still got away the handball. That's great finals pressure. Ice, the Hahn man, off to Borlays. Towards full forward. Oh, there was a shepherd on, and the umpire let it go. So Dan Tokia runs away with it. Kenny, you're not happy with that?
Well, the umpire clearly closer than us, but looked like the shepherd was put on Ambrose with the ball far more than 5 metres away.
Jars juggles one, holds it at left halfback.
He was held out of the contest, was Ambrose, by Bassett.
Now, Jarman has waited for Downsborough to get down for the contest, and that's where he's indicating he's going to kick it. So Downsborough's done very well to get back to make the contest and force the ball to ground as Carter goes around the corner. Jars is there again, pushed out of the contest by Borlays, and play on, said the umpire. As we go down to Rob Copplestone on the boundary.
Thanks for that, DB, down here. The captain, Gary McIntosh, has come up for a quick spell. Coming on is Matthew Toomey.
Thanks for that, Rob.
After having 6 weeks spell with a knee injury, it really is a big-hearted performance by McIntosh. Hasn't had a lot of the football, but what he's done has just been so full of leadership.
Tregenza flying the football, puts it out in front of Ambrose. Ambrose has to take on 2 Redlegs. Good work by the back line. Backing himself as Tyson with his own pace, kicks the ball forward, really under no pressure, but found the Magpie ruckman in Brett Chalmers. Chalmers goes forward, Ambrose has time, has support inside with Treadray, decides to go alone from 45 metres out on his left leg. I think he's kicked it. The supporters are happy, so is the umpire. So Ambrose is second for the quarter, and the Magpies now trail by 11 points.
And Brett Chalmers starting to have a real impact on the game. Number 8 for the Magpies. He intercepted that ball at centre half back, played on, kicked it wide to the space of Ambrose, and Ambrose, just through real ability, was able to twist and turn and put to an excellent left foot goal.
21 points into the third quarter, and the Magpies rally again. They're down by 11 and looking dangerous. The Redlegs need to recover. Loose ball falls. Harvey comes strongly at it. 45 was Scotty Hahn. Now Tyson flipping it forward to allow the runners to come onto it, but Carter makes front position. Cunningham unsettles him. Geneva cleverly off to McGuinness. A long bomb towards half-forward. The big pack. Oh, big fly. Trevor Burgoyne through traffic. This fella is very skillful. Trying to grab it towards Ambrose, who he thought was taking front position, but Bassett covered him beautifully.
And the Magpies have really lifted a notch here. Great courage. Carter, look at that for a leap by Treadray. Almost had it, and the athleticism, just the ability of Burgoyne to be able to pick that up and then twist and turn.
Magpies play the Redlegs. They're always sensational games of football. For decades now, we see Burgoyne over to Borlase. Borlase kicks the ball high. Smith's going back. The player that full the pack, and McGuinness off his right leg, check sides it back. I think he's kicked it. He has!
That was touched. It was touched. Lachlan Bowman was quite right. And the umpire, not sided, had no alternative but to give the goal.
Them's the breaks.
Slow-mo that one if you can.
The real courage comes back. McGuinness, as he should be, a small, or doubtful whether that was touched. If it was, only just. Benefit of the doubt to the Magpies. McGuinness, he really is capable of that freakish goal.
As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
Thanks for that. With only 5 points between the two sides, Peter Road and Norwood have got an interesting dilemma here, trying to work out a fine balance between getting some match fitness to Gary McIntosh, getting him through the game, and of course, most importantly, winning it.
D. Smith under pressure, snaps. I think he might have missed.
He's got
it. Oh, Port Adelaide, they are freakish. They grow a leg in finals, and they're doing it again here today. They were out of it 10 minutes ago. Now they're a point ahead.
Darren Smith's second goal. He kicked a magnificent goal on the siren.
.24-minute mark. This third quarter, Burgoyne again shows a little bit of black magic. The ball goes forward, coming out hard. Looks like Harvey.
Clements.
It's Clements. It is.
What a performance this in the last couple by the Port Adelaide Magpies. Looking down and out, the surgence of the Red Lip. The opening part of this third quarter, but the Maggies have responded.
Ball goes wide. This is Regenza, who's had a very good third quarter. Pushes the ball wide, trying to find Poulton. With there is the Iceman. Cleaning it up is Tyson. There's Obbs. Obbs comes forward. Finds Downsborough. So Ian Downsborough. Pushes it wide. O'Brien with Fegan. Comes to ground. Carter goes for the safety of the boundary line. He finds it.
For
Stephen Carter.
Good football by Stephen Carter. The Magpies have actually been stronger in my book in these situations. They've cleared the ball better from these throw-ins and sent around the pack ball-ups.
As the ball comes in, Downsborough behind Chalmers. The crowd was looking for a free kick. Jennifer it was who got the handball away to Clayton. Further afield. This is just fantastic football as Clements kicks it out of bounds on the full. Pressure, Ken, is an unbelievable thing.
Yes, it is. He was trying to kick around the corner. Just didn't give himself enough room, and the ball skewed off the inside of that side of the boot. Carter, the recipient of the free.
So Clayton drifts one forward. Downsborough can't get underneath that one. Stephen Pitt, well, you just wonder about his emotions. He went to Collingwood last year, could have ended up with the Western Bulldogs this year, decided to come home to the Redlegs, and with the Western Bulldogs out of the finals race, the Redlegs are still red-hot favourites for this year's flag. Not if you're a Port Adelaide fan, but that's what the bookies tell us. James. That's Brett James. Forward. Carr misses it. Tyson dives back on top of it. Now that's holding the ball. No worries about that. You dive back on top of it. You don't get it out. That is a free kick as clear as I've ever seen it.
You can see here on replay, Tyson just dived at the football, made no attempt to flick it out. Tend to agree with you. However, the umpire out there makes a decision, and that's what the players have to go with.
Umpire Smith just showing that both players play the football, not the man. Justin Smith puts the ball down hard. Some strong work done by Chalmers. Obbs, quick handball across to McCormack. The numbers are there. Harvey comes in hard and strong. Back to Obbs. Obbs is put down after he kicks it. Umpires played it on, and Figure takes a mark at centre half back.
And a courageous mark it was too, running against the flight of the footy.
Ball comes out wide. Clayton, Jarman starting to find his feet. Give it across to Ops. Ops sees the player up further, and Cunningham, as he pushed it out in the full, I think he has, couldn't quite control his kick. And the Magpies fans go ecstatic.
Loose ball falls. Treadray over the top, flicks it out. Slick work to McGuinness. A bounce. Has a couple if he wants it, but he spears it in long and low. Ambrose the target. Bassett thumps it away. Lachlan Bowman just bolts away with the ball. Goes towards the boundary line on the left foot. It was great discipline. Pitt couldn't pick it up, but Treadray does. Pushes it back to the point of the square yet again. Ambrose 3-on-1 back there. Picks up the loose ball. Burgoyne. Oh, was it a throw? No, the crowd like it. The umpire says, oh, it's not a goal. Timmy Farkle was right on the job. Couldn't see a better decision than that. I don't think the Port Adelaide fans will like it, but clearly the Ambrose handball was a throw.
See here on replay.
Too hard from that angle for us.
Well, they're important, aren't they? When the umpire's in the right position, it makes the difference between Port Adelaide running away with a goal or being pulled back, and we get another angle of it, Ken.
Yes, definitely. Knock on.
A push.
A push.
Left hand of Ambrose.
Oh, what a game this is. Emotions running high, and the crowd are looking to roast the umpire. I think a couple of them have got a leg in each hand.
Richard Ambrose.
There's the football. It's going somewhere. Where is it? It's come back onto the ground. We've got two footballs out there now. And it's thrown back. The ball comes back in, across to the centre half-back, and the half-back flank. Players all up. Treadray again. He put that ball in before. Treadray comes in, and the ball is seen out over the line. Free kick's given here.
Simon Easter in screen there, just drinking the water bottle. Good to see him recover his consciousness.
A little bit of undisciplined work there, shown by Ashley. Chalmers, the member side wing, puts it to full forward. Ambrose in front again, gives the contest. Just enough pressure there. The Iceman over the top to McGuinness.
Brilliant.
McGuinness onto Ashley. Ashley into an open goal. So Matthew Ashley, he's second for the game, and the Magpies extend their lead.
Nothing short of brilliant from McGuinness here. Hahn it is, forces the ball, and just quick as a flash, the left-handed handball comes from Philip McGuinness to Matthew Ashley, number 12, who finishes off.
What a remarkable game of football. Just 5 minutes ago, Port Adelaide trailed by 3 goals. Now, they lead. What a turnaround. Norwood must be feeling the pressure. They're 9-11. Port are 11-6. It's a 7-point ball game, and the Redlegs need a quick goal before we go to three-quarter time. Tregenza steals it away from Jarman. Goes through half forward. McGuinness was clean bowled. Treadray cleverly off to D. Smith. They lead by 7. A goal here. Oh, he's got it. He's got it. Darren Smith has kicked his second, and the margin blows out now. His 3rd goal. Thank you for that, Mark. His 3rd goal, and the margin blows out to 13 points.
It's his second for this quarter, David, as centre-half forward, combining with the full forward Ambrose, has also kicked two. It's a big performance for Port Adelaide from their key forwards. But the centre bounce clearance is where it all started. Port Adelaide have to even up that ledger, having been flogged up until halfway through this quarter in that department. But they really have responded in the last 15 minutes in the centre bounce clearances.
You never write off a Magpies side come finals time. 4 weeks ago you might have, after they'd lost 4 games out of 5, but they're back. The machine is back. Some tight work once again, David.
Mark,
It's a 30-minute, nearly 31 minutes being played. It'll be a long quarter.
Yeah, you could take that even further, you know. They only beat an underperforming Central by 17 points last week, and they didn't look to be anything like their best. You just wonder about the week off for Norwood, but to take nothing away from Port Adelaide. 31 minutes into the 3rd quarter, the premiership quarter, clearly Port Adelaide have won this term. As Ginniver picks up a loose ball, drives it forward. Burgoyne, Clements, Burgoyne comes again. Inside Tyson, concedes a little bit of ground. Carter evades the tackle, goes high on the left, but he's upended as he kicked it, and Chalmers takes the advantage and plays on quickly, pushes it forward in the direction of Ambrose. Throws the kick slewed off the foot. Ambrose brings it back. Bassett and Ambrose hold each other. Dangtokia comes in, just mops up beautifully. Relieves a little bit of pressure. Off it comes to McCormack, who was reported earlier, if you've just joined us. And now Downsborough. Running through the midfield, a long one to James West. Ball forced down. O'Brien comes in, cleans up Delaney. Roger hasn't moved. James, now Roger's up, thankfully. This is Brett James to Roger James, and short ball. Cunningham, who's kicked two. What a remarkable comeback this is. A knee reconstruction in March. 2 reserves games. He's picked up over 40 possessions, and Roger feels the effects, Ken, of an O'Brien shirt front.
As you can see here, Delaney just completely open for the easy pickings. O'Brien just cleaned him right up. The second one, Rogers copped this quarter. Cunningham.
So Cunningham, who's kicked 2, goes for 3. It's drifting back. Oh, it is an important kick, and he's missed. It's a point. What a fairy tale story for this young man. Back after a knee reconstruction. As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
Thanks for that, DB. The change will have to be made. Roger Delaney having trouble, as you can see, getting to his feet. Pedler's off the bench warming up at the moment. A stretcher has been called, so that bump by Christian O'Brien could even up the ledger a little bit with, of course, Easter off for the Redlegs.
Well, Roger the Dodger, a couple of heavy bumps here this afternoon. Just needs to be taken off on a stretcher.
This fellow has been a great champion for Port Adelaide, and you've got to say, we hope he plays on next year, but for the moment, we hope he's fine. And a shirt front like that.
There's been rumours around town, David, that he's already announced to the club that he doesn't want to continue next season.
Well, I think they've got to
try. This will be his swan song, and he wants the grand final.
Well, I think they've got to try and convince him to stay on, because he has been a great clubman, along with George Fiarchi and Darren Smith. They've been great team leaders. Well, he seems to be aware of where he is, but feeling the effects. The legs just go. You've been there, Mark.
Well, the second player for the quarter. We saw Eastor go off earlier. Now we see one of the old-timers for the Magpies, and Roger Delaney being carried off.
31 years of age, 207 games today, and 13 career goals. Been a great full forward, probably the best fullback of the last decade.
We talk about Magpie greats. We talk about the way that we've seen Scotty Hodges over the year to turn finals.
Now, in days gone by,
he is one of those players also. He's been fantastic, along with George Fiarchi, you mentioned before.
Just about to say, in days gone by, we'd see George Fiarchi squaring up about now. They were Batman and Robin. If you hurt one, you hurt them both. And you didn't want to hurt one because you knew the other one was coming after you.
We just see some great players coming through. We see Jared Polton out there, Matthew Ashland, this player here also, and Clayton really have been sensational.
As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
Just while all the focus was on Roger Delaney leaving the ground with a stretcher, an interchange being made by Norwood. Obst coming off the ground for a bit of a attention to a right arm coming on his Harley.
So James gives the handball into Tyson. Tyson around his body, kicks the ball forward, only as far as Chalmers. He misses the first one, taken high by Jarman. The free kick's given away. Does the umpire play the advantage? I don't think he has. It will come back. A couple of old former teammates.
Only a professional free there, to tell you the truth. 3 players around Chalmers. Jarman couldn't let him go.
Just waiting for the ball to come back. That player, Matthew Twomey, comes back to McCormack. So McCormack on the outer wing.
It's a long quarter, Mark.
Well, it needs to be, Dave. We've seen 2 players being stretchered off. We see Obbs coming off. And the captain, McIntosh.
As we go down to Rob Popplestone.
There's been plenty of action down here. Andrew Jarman again, of course, forced to leave the field with a blood rule. Captain Gary McIntosh coming back on. And you probably note that when Macca left the field last time, Norwood, after leading quite comfortably, have also now found themselves in the predicament of trailing by some 2 goals.
Just waiting for the player to come back on. Obbs, who just came off to replace McIntosh. Another player there also in Downsborough. So they really are down, struggling at the moment to find any height out there. We've seen Eastor coming off. Now Downsborough, David, coming off with the blood ball.
Yes, Port Adelaide have got the chainsaw out. They're just knocking down the tools for Norwood and giving themselves a height advantage. Now, this is a game of attrition, and this is the game that Port Adelaide play better than any other.
Ball's kicked up. Good use of the body by Chalmers, just far too tall at the moment. He's got no Norwood player out there who can match his height or his strength at the moment. So the ball's kicked up. And Chalmers up to Smith. Good work by McGuinness, being very intelligent in this third quarter with his hands. Finds Carter. Smith misses the ball. Burgoyne comes through the pack. Norwood going to ground. Back to Carter as we hear the three-quarter time siren. And Norwood, David, really had been under a fair bit of pressure. But Ken, just a few highlights in that quarter.
Well, Norwood really did take it out after the half-time break with goals to Western Malloy and looked like going to an unassailable lead, but Port Adelaide really fought back, particularly through the dominance of Brett Chalmers. He really emerged as a match winner, if it is to be so, for Port Adelaide in that third quarter. Magnificent quarter of football by him. Also, McGuinness was electric around forward with Burgoyne, Ginniver and Tregenza. The key forwards in Ambrose and Smith responded with 2 goals each from full forward and centre-half respectively for the Port Adelaide side, and most importantly they brought back to an even Steven basically result the centre bounce clearances. Port Adelaide magnificent with the clearances later in that third quarter.
As the players are going towards their huddle, we see the three-quarter times margin here at Football Park in the second semi-final. Norwood 9 goals 12-66. They're trailing the Magpies, who are 12 goals 6-78. And what a game we have on our hand, and you're seeing it at home live on ABC Sport.
Well, our lights have gone out here at Football Park, but for Port Adelaide, the lights, Mark, have really taken off. 6-goal term the third quarter, the 3 goals by the Redlegs. It really was their turn.
Yes, it was. I mean, we saw last week the lights came on this time of the day. They're playing with the yellow ball, which is a little bit of a surprise to me. And the first half was played in good light, but they still managed to use that yellow ball. But the Magpies never write them off, because come September, they just lift another gear, they find another leg, and all of a sudden they just grow an inch taller. But they're around the mark, and they are. I mean, they've taken up to Norwood today, and they are in front come three-quarter time.
Highlights for you?
I mean, a couple of great bumps and knocks and great, but Ambrose up forward really has been great. This young Treadray, this knock here on Eastaugh, that's when he went off.
Quite accidental, and Eastaugh went off on the stretcher, but we did see him with a water bottle later in the term sitting on the bench, so we can report for those Redleg fans and family members that he is at least up and about on the interchange bench.
Malloy coming out there, good passage of play there by the Redlegs. Just came forward, West first to a good mark.
Malloy's kicked
Malloy
3 goals.
It off. Yep, he's kicked his 3 goals this afternoon. They really need a big quarter from both him and Malloy, and also
Jazz,
James West.
squirrel rip, popped out the family jewels, and Timmy says, hang on, Jazz, you're a medalist.
We see Treadgrade holding that one alone, David. We see Treadgrade going for Dan Toshi, a good grab over the back, just backed himself. We see here Jars just throws himself forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally 5. He takes it to the ground, looking forward to seeing what was going to happen up there.
Ambrose finishes off here. This is a great goal. This was a team lifter. He struggled early. He kicked 3 points, Ambrose, but that one was just a beauty and gave him 2 goals for the quarter.
And finally, David, small miss there, but maybe a little bit unconventional was that kick by McGuinness on his right boot and a check side to bring up a goal, but a good game, and he's playing well too. Fair
enough. As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary, Rob, I think Peter Road would be bitterly disappointed. I think Stephen Williams might be a little happy.
Actually, you hit the nail on the head, DB. Actually, contrasting approaches by both coaches. Behind me, Peter Road and Norwood, of course, fairly methodical in trying to work out a system to break this Port Adelaide run on. They've made a few changes. You'll find James West down at full forward by himself. They'll bring Malloy up to the half-forward line, hoping to create something there. But basically, one of the disappointing aspects to that quarter, it was he saw a bit of a problem with the Norwood side failing to bring the ball to the front of the packs, where they're renowned with their runners, the 2 James boys, also Tyson, but they're a little bit of the walking wounded, which must be some sort of a concern. Both Downsborough and Jarman leaving the ground, of course, during that third quarter with the blood rule. You've got Eastaugh, who was knocked unconscious during that third quarter, and of course Cunningham and McIntosh, maybe condition possibly could be a problem for both of those players, who obviously, as we know, have missed a majority majority of this year with knee injuries. Behind me now is Steve Williams and the Port Adelaide side, and might I say that I've been a little bit concerned about Port Adelaide throughout the year because they're fairly quiet when they come in during quarter and half-time and even three-quarter time huddles, but no doubt this is finals time, and Port Adelaide, buoyed by a great quarter during that last 30 minutes, they're really pumped. They're saying that the Port Adelaide courage and discipline that's earned them the respect of the SANFL over decades before has now come to the fore. If they run hard and attack, they're all the rage to go straight through, the easy run through to the grand final. Might I say, standing out in the middle of the football park, Norwood, though, will be favoured by a slight breeze.
Thanks for that, Rob. Perhaps Port Adelaide, buoyed by grand finals past. They've won 34, and there's the three-quarter time scoreboard. They led by 16 points at quarter time, Port Adelaide. They trailed by 5 points at half-time, and at three-quarter time, they lead by 12.
And the goal kickers, David, this afternoon, see Malloy up forward, and also West had 3 inches. And Cunningham, his first game back since March, he's kicked 2 today. And for the Magpies, I mean, Smith's had 3. I mean, his effort has been sensational at centre-half forward.
Andrew Jarman gets a hair treatment. I think they just got a little bit of wax on there. They're going to take those last few little beads of hair out. No?
I don't think so.
The blood rule being enforced
there.
Yeah.
Double thickness, but he must play an important part in this last quarter. If they're going to win this game,
now what about
they have to get home.
Roger Delaney? O'Brien got him late in the quarter, and that must unsettle the Port Adelaide defence.
You can't afford to lose the experience of Roger Delaney. I know it's late in that quarter, but just be interesting to see who comes back down this last quarter, whether they can contain the leading goal kicker and the Ken Farmers and medalist in Jim West.
Well, Mark, you've got to ask the question. With Roger Delaney off, the Port Adelaide defence unsettled. Do the Redlegs get back? Can they get back into this game? They're only 12 points down.
We just heard there from Rob Popplestone that they will be favoured by a slight wind. So hopefully that might be enough to get them home. But at the moment, this Magpie machine, they are pumped up and they are full of confidence.
As we go to Ken Sheldon, Ken, Peter Road, the best team during the year. They won 17, lost 3. Easily the best side. Today, he's got his troubles.
He does have his troubles, but they are kicking with what looks like a 2 to 3 goal breeze, in my view. And really, the game is there to be won. They have ended up on top of the ladder. They are coming from a little bit behind now, but if they're good enough, they should win the result. But to mine, I think Port Adelaide can go with it. They will miss Delaney. The kick-out expertise of his will be sadly missed if not inaccurate with this strong wind.
Stephen Williams, the 10th coach to win a premiership in his first year after taking over from John Cale in the middle of last year. The final quarter underway. Your umpires, Tim Pfeiffer, Justin Schmidt and Darryl Ryan. Your commentators, Ken Sheldon, Mark Naley, and on the boundary line, Rob Popplestone.
The siren to start the last quarter of the second semi-final. Norwood plays Port Adelaide Magpies. As the ball is put down, Chalmers up against Downsborough. Ball and James, and also Clayton.
Tremendous tackle by Clayton, just wrapped up James and brought him to ground. Another ball up, good result.
Again, Downsborough up against Chalmers. The ball comes to ground. Tyson's in there. It was Obbs. Back to McIntosh. McIntosh pushes the ball out towards Cunningham. Which way will it bounce? O'Brien is favoured by it. Coming through is Malloy. Good work from behind. Looked like Jared Polton. Polton goes wider to Pedler. Pedler comes inside, pushes the ball up high. 3-on-1 here. Who can take it? Nearly by Fegan. Norwood had the numbers. McIntosh onto his left leg. He puts it high into the forward. West, northeast, coming through hard. Couldn't quite pick the player up. Looked like Cunningham to Malloy. Malloy around his body. A goal to Glenn Malloy. 4 kicks, 4 goals. 2 in the first, 1 in the third. And he started the last quarter with his 4th goal.
That's the one the Redlegs needed. McIntosh kicking the ball long in from half forward with the wind, and they were there to crumb. Cunningham had the hands on the football. He was wrapped up by Northeast in a gang tackle, but the ball spilled free, and Malloy finished it with first blood in this final quarter.
Stay with us live until 6 o'clock. A great game of football, 6 points the margin. 2 traditional rivals, no doubt about that. Tregenza flicks it out the back door. Carr comes streaming away from half-back, delivers a high ball, an air ball towards half-forward. Polton did very well to make the contest. Cleverly done, McGuinness. Now Polton streams away with it. He's a clever young man, this fellow. And a big fly, oh, a big pack. Pitt pushes it forward. Harvey Probably the best rover in the competition, you'd have to say. And Cunningham back now, wouldn't be too far behind him, but Harvey goes towards the boundary line. Bowman heads there as well. And was that deliberate? No, says the umpire.
Well, I think there's no doubt it was deliberate, but it's all in the vein of the game, and the umpire simply says throw it in.
There's been nothing soft today at all, Mark, you've got to say. The umpires generally have been right on the job.
They've been around the mark. They've let the game flow, which is good umpiring. You see the ball come back. 26 to release it with Stephen Pitt. He puts it high. Good mark taken by Pedler. Malloy chasing down the player, puts him down as he kicks it. The umpires let it go on. Good mark again taken by Carter.
It's been good, Carter.
15 possessions. Carter goes short, just holds possession. As the big ruckman, Brett Chalmers. 17 kicks, 2 handballs, 19 possessions. A good day's outing for him too. The ball's high. Norwood player goes down. They've got the numbers here. Pressure is shown. Handball over the top to Bowman. Bowman needs to get it forward. He does. He finds Harvey. Harvey needs to get the boot to ball. He's got his captain McIntosh at centre half back.
Macca in his 350th would be willing his sock. Clearly, he is an inspirational leader. O'Brien goes to ground. He was the player that shirt-fronted Delaney, and Figa just lets him know about it. There is some real feeling here, and you suspect that if whoever meets who in the grand final, it might be these two teams again. Chalmers, front position, throws it forward, and O'Brien unable to get there. Harvey got hands to ball and paddled it down. So we've played just on 4 minutes of the final quarter. Norwood at 10-12-72. Port are 12-6-78. One kick the difference.
Ball's thrown in right in front of the members' stand here at Football Park. Coming through was James. Back to Harvey. Harvey kicks the ball towards centre half forward. Malloy's pushed out. Coming first there is James. James towards the goal face. Aaron West. He's taken a sensational grab. This will level the scores if he can kick it. 3 metres out on an acute angle. He's got 3 already, going for his 4th. The chanted, they are match-winning marks.
That is a strong mark. Fighting against the body strength of Paul Northeast. He's still able to have the eye-hand coordination to pull down that footy and kicks.
He's missed it.
Tried to open up the angle, did James West, by taking a couple of steps into the corridor and just hooked it straight across the inside of his body for a disappointing result.
There's a momentum swing, Ken, when something like that happens.
Well, now possession is with the Port Adelaide side, although I did mention at the three-quarter time break, Delaney's kick-out perfection will be missed.
Pedler's got a bad kick. Chalmers the big fly. Brett James taken the ground by Polton. What a tackle that was. He caught him mid-air.
Full on these players, great commitment, a great game of footy.
So Jared Polton in only his 19th game, making a name for himself.
He has some real talent, as do a number of these youngsters playing here today. But what a performance from Brett Chalmers. 13 marks, 14 marks in fact he's taken for the day.
Oh, great work inside by Downsborough.
Tyson
to find the running Tyson going through. Unfortunately, Tyson just couldn't finish it off. But Norwood really at the moment, David, are throwing everything they possibly can at this Magpie team.
Well, they get a wonderful entry to a grand final if they can knock off Port Adelaide. They're down by 4 points. But, oh, great Mark Holton. We sung his praises just a moment ago, Ken.
Third man up.
And first man down. Borlase in front of Jarman. That's been a real battle today. Borlase 9 kicks and 7 handballs. And Jarman 7 kicks, 8 handballs. What a job Borlase has done. Darren Smith.
Well, the credit is with Borlase because his instruction would be to curb the possession rate of Jarman, averaging 30 to 40 per game.
Well, Carter's mark, 40 metres out, tight angle. and they lead by 4 points.
Well, too far out to kick the goal, you would think, kicking into the breeze.
Well, he is a prodigious kick.
And the ball will also be protected by the height of the new corporate stand here.
I think he's a better kick on the run generally, but if anyone can kick it into the teeth of this breeze, he has the power to do it, this young man. I'm very impressed with the way he plays his footy. Occasionally undisciplined. Oh, he has got something about him, hasn't he? And he's got it. That is a very big goal.
That's a special goal. 7 minutes into this final quarter. 4 points ahead, kicking into the breeze, Port Adelaide. And Stephen Carter, who has been particularly good at halfback all day, was able to steal that goal through from 40 metres out into the breeze.
So 13-6 plays 10-14, a 10-point ball game. 8 minutes into this last quarter. Jared Bolton comes through off the side of his boot. This favours the Redlegs. Tommy Carr comes around to clean it up. Pushes the ball out wide, trying to find the Iceman on the member's wing. And Hahn couldn't quite keep it in.
Tom Carr, number 54 for Port Adelaide, on the other half-back flank, had a tremendous game. A couple of goals kicked on him, but every time he's got the football, he's done something effective with it.
Downsborough opposed to Treadway and Ruck. Dead heat that one, across the line again. 8.5 minutes into the final term. It's a 10-point ball game favouring the Port Adelaide Magpies. And remember that it was Norwood who inflicted their biggest loss in history on them in round 5, Anzac Day this year at Adelaide Oval. A complete humiliation. 122 points. Port only kicked 4 goals free that day.
Good play by Stephen Carter, number 36, forcing the ball to the safety of the boundary line. Another neutral contest takes place through a boundary throw-in.
Norwood have won 2 this year. Port Adelaide have once won down at Alberton as Borlase pushes one around the corner. Lachlan Bowman runs onto it. The Iceman just cut him off at the pass. Coming at it, Harvey. There was a bit of a throw in there. Jarman digs one out, grabbed the shovel to get that one through. Now Ginniver picks it up, goes towards Peter Burgoyne at half forward. Over the top of it, McCormick. Harvey burrows in like a rabbit, and McGuinness puts the sleeper hold on.
He's had no choice there. Clements was on the way up with the footy, right into the belly of McGuinness, who just wrapped him up. Correct result.
So Rogers back on the bench mark. He looks to be reasonable.
A free kick to Jarman.
The boots are off, David. I don't think you'll see him back on the ground today. Just that last contest before, just difference between the Norwood players and the Port players, where their captain here in Ginniver,
Unbelievable mistake.
ball to boot. Ashley takes it as he's kicked, pushes the ball up forward. Good work by McGuinness around his body. Another goal is kicked. The Magpies could nearly call it home now.
The long call, but that is a big mistake in the context of the game. McGuinness's third goal, an excellent goal too, just crumbing to the front and square of that pack and able to twist it around his body. But Ginniver, the interceptor, and an ever cool under composure, had great vision to find Ashley. Ashley with an excellent kick to the front of the square. You can see the ball spilt. McGuinness, what a roving goal, classic roving goal.
So Andrew Jarman still has a few demons to exercise from last year's finals. He set himself for a big year, a grand final, a win, and to play well. Well, at this stage, he's done everything in the first part of the season. McCormick taps it down. Obbs, who spent some time off the oval during the third quarter, drives it towards half forward. This game has been as good as any AFL game you'll see this year. It's not too big a rap. It has been full of everything. Skills, desperation, vigour, all in the one. Jarman pushes it to half forward. Malloy shows respect to the skipper, but he's really doing it by memory, Macca. He got it away, but only just.
Now, why wouldn't that be holding the ball, consistent with other decisions all day? He tried to get around the players on a couple of occasions.
He got it away. He got it away.
Tied up. Have a look at this. Aaron just all he did. He got the hands away. Good decision, David Mackay.
The ball thrown in the half-forward line for the Redlegs. Quick kick by the big fella in Treadrow, who's been moved into the ruck. The ball favours the Magpies through Smith. Smith puts it out in front of Ashley. Coming out hard again, there's a big fella in Chalmers, who's resting at full forward. Dan Toshier, Obst, Cunningham, Needs to put it out. Good work by the Black Magic in Burgoyne. Just licked him as he went through. And the ball will come back to Cunningham.
What a ferocious chase that by Burgoyne. Just Gibby's everything. Players can often run hard when they're running towards goal, but not so hard when they're chasing. That was a magnificent chase and unlucky to give the free kick away.
13 kicks and 3 handballs to Cunningham coming back from a knee reconstruction. That's been a fine performance, and Downs remarks at centre-half forward.
Downsborough, can he kick this ball this distance? Has the wind behind him. Darren Smith was able to do it at the end of the first quarter.
2 behinds today. He hasn't kicked a lot of goals, has he? In 12 games, he's only kicked 8 goals, and he stabs at that one, and, well, 3 points.
Goals at a premium here for the Norwood side. Pedler.
So nearing the 13-minute mark of this last quarter. Oh, the umpire has paid that.
What a mark, strong mark. Great player, Daisy Borloo. He's done a magnificent job here today in blanketing Andrew Jarman, and that was just a crucial take.
Oh, come on, I disagree with that one. He didn't take it to the ground. First grab, as he fell down, the ball was taken then by West. But we come back to the action. We said Burgoyne chips the ball forward. He's got the ice man. He uses him. Hahn chips it up. Smith. Pet's come across. Ashley's there as well. Players going down like 9 pins in the goal square.
Tremendous
the umpire comes in again.
What about Stephen Pitt's second effort, Ken?
Yeah, and Matthew Ashley's. As a defender, you need the second efforts. As a forward, they often don't give you that second and third effort. But Coach Stephen Williams was just wrapped with Matthew Ashley's endeavour there. 14
minutes into the final quarter. It's Port Adelaide, as you saw, by 15 points. And the Magpies definitely grow something in finals. They grow a third leg, stature and confidence, and they are something different. Cunningham, kick number 14, 17 possessions in a fine return to senior football. Desperate work, Obbs. Chalmers in fringe, says the umpire, pushing the back, and Obbs will take the free kick from centre-half back.
An awkward one there for the big man to get down so low to lay an effective tackle.
So O'Brien launches at that one. Harvey over the top. Dantokia. The tackling by Port Adelaide since half-time has been ferocious. And Carr pushes it to Scott Hahn. Now 2-on-1. What can Port do here? Treadray cleverly pushes it towards the line. And Downsborough is able to keep it in. So he pushes it into McCormick. A short one over the top to Harvey. And Harvey plays on so ever quickly. Clements. They know they need to get 3 quick goals on the board. Jarman was held play on, said the umpire. And Chalmers' mark from centre-half back has played a pretty solid game.
Sensational game.
The trigger. Finds his captain in Ginnivan. Ginnivan around his body. He's got northeast. He's run from full back. That awkward kicking action, but it's found Jared Polton. Polton can run inside 50. Good work by Obbs to get a hand onto him. The pack forms. Who's at the face? 42 is McCormack. McCormack goes down, middle of the ground. He's only gone back as far as Carr. Hit heavily as was taken by Roger James. Knew it was coming, but a great mark.
Terrific mark for a youngster. Eyes only for the football. Withstood the physical burst being thrown at him and was able to be cool and calculated, take an effective mark.
Ambrose back on it. Sockers it forward. Then goes for the goals. Downsborough comes out. Back to James, back to Downsborough. So Downsborough onto his left leg. Again, that Magpie wall is there to rebound.
Yes, they're short a big man, the Redlegs, and Port Adelaide have exploited it beautifully. Particularly this fellow who's just run around like a rabid dog. Ambrose started slowly, kicked 3 points before he got his first goal, Ken.
Well, after the first quarter where Chalmers was simply playing a kick behind the game, he's started to push himself into half forward where he's taken many marks just as he did just moments ago, and his foot disposal has been so good.
Ambrose slows it down. 14 marks and 20 kicks.
Not bad for your number 1 ruckman.
Not bad at all, is it? Great performance. Oh, and so is this. Darren Smith, who John Cale will tell you, if you ever want to sit down with Jack, that this guy has never let him down in a big game. He might have let him down in ones that don't matter.
Let me tell you.
In the big ones, Darren Smith has always performed. As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
DB, just before Darren Smith fires for goals, Cunningham, who's just run out of legs, has been taken to the bench, and hopefully some fresh legs, and Matthew Turmey to come back on for the Redlegs.
Still been a great effort by Cunningham, back from a knee reconstruction, 2 reserves games, his first senior game of footy, a second semi-final, and he's done well. And Darren Smith, oh, look at the kick. Look at it, big Darren, he loves it. He says we'll be number 1, and the crowd, I think, tend to agree. That's 4, and Darren Smith says, I like it, we'll be 1 again.
4 goals from centre-half forward. And look at this, a strong mark, the only forward to present himself. 3 to 1 outnumbered, but that goal there, the wind taking it right to left, very difficult to kick. Those people that have watched many games here at Footy Park would appreciate that. A very difficult pocket to score from.
As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
DB, Stephen Pitt will leave the field in just a few moments. Been fairly quiet on the half-back line. Coming on, Tom Harley.
Ginnivan. Smith again, takes it, hands across. Hahn, inside 50. The mark is taken in the last line of the fence by Stephen Pitt. The player about to come off. Taking a saving mark, so Pitt goes to the outer side, the scoreboard side of Football Park. Chalmers, 21st kick, as we heard before, 14 grabs, pushes it forward. Good tackle by Treadray. The ball goes towards the centre of the ground. Tregenz will be first there, no, he won't. Figut's there before him. Some good work off the ground by Ashley. Obbs is there, he goes out wider. Couldn't find it, he's only found Pedler. Pedler onto his left leg. Pushed it high, there's a chance here for a grab. Up goes Dan Toshi, and McGuinness is in there also. The ball comes to ground, and again is held into the forward line by the Magpies forwards.
It was Ambrose on that occasion, turning attack into defence. It's what you ask as a coach of your forwards. If you can't take clean possession, you've got to hold it into your forward line.
Ice, man, Hahn. Sorry, Mark, it's a disease I've caught from you. Clements. Under pressure. Oh, Tregenza. Hasn't he been solid today as well? Welcome back, Trigger. 13 kicks, 8 handballs, 4 marks. And Geneva has been quite stellar. The skipper also, who really leads by example in finals, has played particularly well today. 16 kicks, 8 handballs and 5 marks for him. And now Scott Hahn, a bit player today, gets to take centre stage. 48 out, tight angle. He can kick it long and hard. The breeze will bring it back. It'll lob right in the square. Big pack up, and Bassett concedes the point.
Oh, Burgoyne was there. Really got his hands to that ball. The 20-minute mark of this last quarter. 27-point margins. The ball's pushed on the outer wing. Tyson takes a good grab out in front of Jared Poulton. He looks forward, he's got O'Brien, he's got Jarman.
Yep.
Good healthy signs. To come around, Toomey centres the ball towards West. It comes down to Downsborough. Downsborough onto his left leg. He pushes it forward. I think he's missed. He has. The umpire puts one finger up.
4 points to Downsborough. Ian Mogridge, our stats man, has got a sore finger.
Downsborough has played a mixed role today, centre-half forward.
What about the crowd? Ken, 22,749 after 15,000 people last week. And you suspect the grand final with Port Adelaide in it, we might have a sellout again.
No doubt about that. And what a performance from this man. 15 marks to this stage of the game. 22 kicks. Exploded after quarter time, had a particularly brilliant third quarter. The main catalyst behind the Port Adelaide burst back to the lead.
Polton up, marks on the outer wing. Now this will set up a classic grand final. They'll either get a chance of having a go at Central District 3 times in a row, Port Adelaide, or they get a chance really of burying an old nemesis in Norwood, or Norwood get a chance of coming back and winning their first since '84, or Central their first ever. What a beautiful equation.
We'll flat out find him the answer.
Well, we'll know in 2 weeks, won't we? Because we know that Norwood will play Central District in the preliminary final, and the winner gets a shot at the champ.
Well, after all that, Carr comes through the pack, pushes it wide to Polton. Polton just dodges and weaves, got the support there. Chalmers on the Geneva, beautiful work by Port Adelaide. They kick it up, couldn't find his target. And number 25 is Troy Clements, takes a safe mark. But don't write the Redlegs off yet. We saw last year the Magpies went down in the second semi-final to the Bulldogs quite easily as well, but then came out grand final day and took the points.
And they only just got there, by the way. Scotty Hodges' goal just before the siren put them ahead, but for most of the game, the Redlegs were winners.
Well, the big factor, of course, will be the fitness of McIntosh in particular and Cunningham. Clearly underdone here today.
As
must be better.
Clements streaks through. Now, the good thing is for the Redlegs, they're still running, but Carr is good enough, and he rebounds and pushes the ball towards half forward, where Hahn takes a fly behind McCormick, and McCormick just holds the shoulder. What a week of football we'll have. The Crows in a grand final next week in Melbourne against St Kilda. We'll have a preliminary final the following day with Norwood taking on Central District, and the winner against Port Adelaide the following week. And those players, Ken, are dog-tired. They've given everything this afternoon.
Well, it really has been a tremendous game of football. One of the very best that I've seen at SANFL level, without a doubt. Players from both sides have just given their everything, all that any coach can ask.
They're good in finals, aren't they? Preliminary final last year was a beauty too. Taken high was Brett James, free kick. The James brothers playing together today. They'll enjoy that.
First time too, David.
First time ever.
They've played together.
Thanks for that, Mark. Stats man Ian Mogridge just fills us in on these little things, and we thank him for that. As we go down to Rob Popperstone on the boundary.
DB, Peter Rhodes still haven't given up, making plenty of changes down here. Stephen Pitt will come back onto the ground at centre half forward, and O'Brien will have a rest on the bench.
So thump from behind. Number 34 is Tom Harley. Hasn't spent much of the day on the bench. He's been on. But Ken, you just want to go through just a few of the better players this afternoon for both sides.
Well, to mine for the Port Adelaide side, Chalmers has clearly been the best man on the ground, leading the first ruck. His third quarter was particularly brilliant. I think Darren Smith's had a big influence on the game, playing a centre-half forward, kicking 4 goals and opening up many spaces, creating a 3-pronged tall attack with Ambrose and Treadray, who have both been good contributors. Geneva, McGuinness, Tregenza and Burgoyne, I think, wraps up the Port Adelaide side, along with Carter and Carr at half-back. They really haven't had any passengers, nor have probably Norwood for that point. Tyson perhaps their best with Harvey, Obst and McCormick. I've been particularly impressed with across half-back.
Can't complain there. You hear the war in the background with both supporters cheering both their sides on. It is war. It's not a game of football. Both teams are showing great commitment, and the supporters of South Australia to SANFL football, it is tremendous. And the umpire comes in. The crowd's not happy. The young Ferrer and Jared Polton believes he took the grab. Down he goes, 1, 2, and hits the ground. Possibly good decision by the umpire.
Either change is made.
So the ball's kicked back towards centre-half forward. Malloy, ball spoiled from behind beautifully by Pedler, finds the boundary line and goes out over. The 26-minute mark of this last quarter, people starting to leave. We'll just see the ball coming down. Harvey just throws it to the dirt. James there with him. The game just starting to slow down. Both sides are giving all. Tremendous opening. Tremendous second quarter by the Magpies to chisel their way ahead.
Some real special highlights. Darren Smith's kick after the siren from 50 metres at quarter time, a great goal. Dan Tocchia's mark. The Ambrose and McGuinness snapshots for goal were really tremendously skilled, in the physicality of O'Brien. Some of the physical clashes have been really strong.
Harley takes it up against Smith. Smith needs to get rid of it. He does. He gives it across to McGuinness. He couldn't quite do it. Good effort. Good second effort in there. Again, you see Rowan Smith, Rob Popplestone coming back on for another run.
He is, and Simon Tregenza, who got some much-needed match fitness, coming off for a slight breather after a good first-up effort.
I wonder if Malcolm Blight made that move. Tregenza only made one mistake today in my book, had a tremendous game on centre wing, as has his direct opponent, in fact, in Obst. Been a good clash. Rowan Smith playing his 250th now, number 13 for Port Adelaide, back on the ground.
That player there in Ginnivan, hasn't he played a sensational game? The ball's come in. McGuinness from inside 50s. He made the distance. I think he has. Hasn't got the accuracy. We have another behind. McGuinness today, he's kicked 3 goals, 1 behind. He's had 14 kicks, 5 handballs. That's 19 possessions for a rover.
As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
DB, just have a listen to this crowd in about minutes' time, because Timmy Ginnivan will be going off for a rest after a sensational effort in the middle of the ground, and coming on is Brett Higgins. So just stay focused on this crowd down here and the members, because they really will respond to Tim Ginnivan, as they're doing right now behind me.
You're dead right, Rob. Remember, he won the best finals player last year in a premiership year, and he's well on his way to doing it again.
Looks like blood rule also for the big fella in Downsbar. We see O'Brien comes back on.
Oh, there's a St Kilda fan. He's going to get absolutely clobbered here in South Australia during the week. He wouldn't want to be seen wearing that around town. He's a very brave man. Most courageous award to the crowd as Chalmers thumps it down. And the siren's gone. It's all over. Oh, Port Adelaide have won. They're through to another grand final. They've already won 34, Ken, and the final margin 22 points. Well, they were simply magnificent.
Yes, they were just harder when it really mattered most. The third quarter, the premiership quarter, they responded. Chalmers, the ruckman, the best man on the ground, really set the turn. Darren Smith kicked a couple, as did Ambrose, and McGuinness and Ginnivan were magnificent.
So the final scoreboard here at Football Park. Port Adelaide win the second semi-final. They go straight through to the grand final. They're 15 goals, 8, 98. Norwood 10 goals, 16, 76. Next week, front up against Central District in the preliminary final. Goal kickers for Port Adelaide. Smith kicked 4, McGuinness kicked 3 goals, 1. Ashley, Ambrose and Burgoyne all got 2. While for Norwood, Malloy got 4, West 3. Cunningham, in a great comeback from a knee reconstruction, kicked a couple, and James kicked 1. Statistically, not much in it. They were just fantastic. Port, the hard ball gets. So it sets it up beautifully next week. The first semi-final earlier today was Central District 15 goals, 10, 100, defeating North Adelaide 12 goals, 981. The final margin there, 19 points, which means Central get a chance at Norwood, and if they can get over the Redlegs, they can go through and have a crack at Port Adelaide in the grand final. What a day of high drama. Port Adelaide, the underdogs, get through Norwood, the minor premiers, and they were red-hot favourites today. Port Adelaide are something different. Don't forget next week, it's Norwood and Central, 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock. We'll bring you that great game, and hasn't that put a new dimension to that clash? Norwood, a little underdone, you'd suggest. We hope you'll join us next week, 4 to 6, when we bring you Norwood and Central as Port Adelaide fans continue to celebrate here at Football Park. It's goodbye for now.